We've thank you for being here, and you've decided to jump on with me to have a natter about all things for the love and perhaps the hate of group fitness. She's got a cup of tea, and I've got my lemon juice.
Yeah. Yeah. How long do you have?
Let's see how we go, shall we? So without for our listeners today, share with us a little bit about, how did you end up in this industry?
So I was in group fitness for many, many years. Absolutely loved it. Did everything. But then as I got older, I suppose I began to slow down. Still wanted to love what I wanted to teach, and did yoga, did Pilates, then combined them as such, but not had the holistic side of yoga, nor the precision of Pilates. Just worked with flexibility in a very casual manner, and it just took off. And yeah, it's good, and it still is good. It's nice. I can still live my life happily. I can still work at the same time, and I feel I've got a really lovely balance in my life, and I'm so grateful for that, because that to me is so important, just to have the balance in life.
Has it been a conscious thing finding that balance, or is it, something that you've just realized one day that, you know what, I need more, I need to find that balance?
To be honest, we were having a chat earlier, and I, you know, it's really funny, isn't it? Sometimes when everything's going really well, we almost feel we need to push ourselves further. It's almost like, oh, this is a comfortable place I'm in. We almost bring stress onto ourselves for some reason. And I was in a really good place with teaching and also with Purestretch. But I decided, right, I have to have a studio. I didn't. I didn't have to have a studio. And this studio literally took over my life, took over my life. And I was single. I had 4 kids. And it just got to the stage where I was working so hard. I wasn't seeing the kids as much as I should have. I was one of those mums running in at the last minute, not going to things because of work, blah blah blah. And then it just got to a stage where I was like, what am I doing? What am I doing? And I know COVID was a terrible thing, and it really was a terrible thing. But it for me, that's when decisions were made for me. And then actually, that's when I embraced those decisions. And the studio was shut. I didn't reopen it, and it's made me really realize how hard I have been working, and how much I've just given to fitness and the industry. And yeah, and I've really slowed down. And honestly, I'm the happiest I've ever been. I really am.
So the
It's
gift of
good.
COVID.
It's a terrible thing to say, because I know it's taken lives, and people have suffered with it. But I do think there is also that other side of COVID, that people have suddenly been forced to stop living their life as they've been living it, and suddenly look at their lives and think, hang on a second, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? I don't have to do this. I can do this instead and just live a better life. So I don't think I'm the only one who's kind of made decisions like that throughout COVID. So it's good. I'm genuinely so happy.
Yeah, no, and you kind of saw it, like the first, especially the first year and a half, people are posting on social media saying, "Oh, it's made me realize and appreciate, my life and everything else." But then what I've seen also with some instructors at ground level is that they've gone back to the whole 15, 20 classes a week running around, like a headless chicken,
I know.
and hustling, hustling,
I
hustling.
know.
And I just think, what happened to what you said, that you realized?
Yeah, yeah, I absolutely agree. And there's, uh, I'm very lucky. I've got a fantastic team within Pure Stretch, and we are a little community. And I see how hard some of these guys work. And I'm like, wow, Yeah, because I remember being there. I remember being there, and you're feeding off adrenaline, and you're just running around, and it's like only now because I'm older, I suppose, and I haven't got that energy. I kind of look at it and go, "Whoa, I just don't want to go back there again." I just, you know, I don't know. Maybe I've got lazy, but I've thought I just like you're saying. I see them working so hard and every night, and I'm like, wow, that was there. Don't want to be there again. Really don't want to be there. And I know people might say, well, I have to be. I think now you don't because I remember I'd give up a class. You know, the day you go out and you think, I don't want to do this class. You know that feeling. I've always said, if that's the feeling you have, give it up. Give it up because something else will come along. It will, I promise you. But when you're dragging your heels, going out at whatever time and thinking, I don't want to do this, lads, life's short. Give it up. Seriously, you don't want to feel like that about life.
And I agree with you. It's sometimes it's that fear of letting go, right? But it's, you can't, it's like having a full cup, isn't it? You can't, like, nothing can come in if it's still full. So if you need to
Exactly.
trust the universe and actually let it go, because it's not making you feel good anymore, something else and something better will come along. I definitely agree with you on that. Yeah.
Definitely. And you know what? I remember, yeah, it is that fear. It is that fear. And also, of course, finances. You're worried about like, well, if I don't get this, then I'm going to be But it is amazing when you start to work things out and think, well, actually, maybe if I cut down on this or blah, 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 as you say, let the universe do what it needs to do. But honestly, my massive advice to so many people is when you're dragging your heels to do that class, bye, bye.
Yeah, I was really thinking about this in terms of, like the swimming. There was there was I think when I was lecturing at university, there was a real shift in swimming training for, the athletes, in that swimmers used to get up at stupid o'clock in the morning and do just lap after lap and massless amount of hours. And then there was research that they did that basically said that they didn't need to train as much. They just needed to train smarter, right? And the same, they did
Mm.
it for football as well. And you need to train, but you need to train specifically for certain things as opposed to just do the hours. And then looking at the Australian Open that's on now, Djokovic, obviously because of the situation he was in last year, didn't play much at all, and yet he's doing really well. So it kind of makes me
Crazy.
think, from a
Yeah.
business perspective, maybe we just need to work smarter. We work hard and we work smart as opposed to
Not
just hustle and throw stuff out there everywhere.
totally, totally. And I don't know about you, but I used to be stressed all of the time. And I'd almost feed off that stress, almost felt I needed to be stressed. And if I wasn't stressed, and that's what I recognize it as now, I'd be like, what's wrong? What's wrong? I'd almost be looking for the stress. And again, maybe again, because I'm older, I don't know, I've slowed down. But I look back now and just think, God, you know, the amount of times I definitely had adrenaline burnout, the amount of times I was just stressed to the nines, that I was like, constantly on this, and you just, I promise you guys, you do not need to be like that at all. And just enjoy what you're doing. That's the real thing as well. Whatever you teach, if you're not enjoying it, again, get rid of it. Find something you love teaching, and because it comes across, doesn't it? When you love teaching, whatever you love teaching, everybody loves watching you teach because it's just so apparent. You know, we were chatting because it's like I won't say I've made mistakes in the past, but I have done things that, like, you think, wow, I put myself into situations because I wanted classes, I wanted money, I wanted to get out there, and you look back and because you sent me a little email because I was like, what do I talk about? And you said, well, basically some of the like really funny situations that happened, back in the old days, and you just think about them and you just think it's so funny, like, I wanted to get into sales in a studio because I knew I would have my own studio at some stage. So your man has me out there giving people free bananas in Reading Station. So I'm standing there. Oh yeah, yeah. Honestly, and I'm giving out free bananas to random people. Yeah, no, stop. To random people, and it had like the club's name around it. And listen, the funniest thing is I had my mum come and stay with me. And I was like, Mum, I'm so sorry. I've got to go out this Saturday. Again, like, why? I got to go out this Saturday to give out these bananas in Reading Station. I'm like, and Mum's like, don't worry, love. I'll come with you. So there we were in Reading Station with my mum giving out bananas for this fitness club. It was so funny. So funny.
Did anyone measure the return on that investment?
Absolutely nobody. But you know what? Mum, this is a true story. Mum was going, it's getting really cold here in the station. So she goes, I think it'd be much better if we went to the Oracle. So she takes me to the Oracle. And you know when people get off the lifts, we're giving out bananas. Well, we got thrown out by security. It's like, oh, God's sake.
Oh dear. Is there anything that you've done that um, you kind of think, well, yes, I would, that was useful for me in terms of, like obviously the handing out actually, I was handing out the
Oh, yeah.
bananas useful life experience for you.
All right. Can I be honest? Can I honestly be? I loved it. It was just so insane, and you met so many people, and they'd look at me and go, "What?" And I'd go, I don't know," and you just start chatting to people. I genuinely am. I always think whatever situation you're put into, just learn from it and try your best to be positive about it. Now, I wasn't always like that. In those days when I was stressed and up here, I was not like that. I didn't think like that. I didn't embrace situations. I almost always expected them to lead to some catastrophe because of past history, probably. Whereas now I'm very much like, if something happens, learn by it. Everything is a journey. Every single thing you do is a journey, and it's up to you to figure out how you feel about this. Your reaction. What is your reaction to this? Yeah. And honestly, every experience I've had and look back at laugh at, I think it's a positive thing because it genuinely has made me what I am now, what I feel now, and I can look back and laugh at so many cringing experiences.
I was going to ask you when you
You
launched
know,
your studio, did you hand out
oh, do you want
bananas?
to hear? Do you want to hear the truth of this? I don't know if I should do this in this interview, but this is the truth. I'm really sorry. It's great. It's great. So basically, if you can imagine, I sold my house to do this. Crazy. Dragon's Den would go, oh yeah. I made all the mistakes. Dragon's Den would just go, you did what? I sold my house. This studio wasn't even mine. It was rented. I loved my landlady. She honestly was like an aunt to me. She was amazing. But all of the money I put into this studio was making her studio better. Again, looking back. Ugh. Anyway, I'd worked so hard to make this studio beautiful, and it was beautiful. And the builder who was helping me was gorgeous. He was gorgeous. So within that time of having this studio done, we got on quite well. It was lovely, and we decided to go back to his place that evening to celebrate. So the next day, I was opening the studio. I was doing the opening of the studio, advertised everything. He introduced me that evening before the opening to limoncello. Limoncello. I thought it was like lemonade. The next day, oh, the next day, could was I there for my own studio opening? No, I couldn't get from the bed to the stool to the shower. It was not capable. The next morning, I could not move. So I had other people open my studio on my opening day for me. How bad is that? How bad is that?
I hope it was a good
So
night.
the lesson there, oh, it was a very, very good night, actually. What I remember of it, it was a super night. Yeah, gorgeous guy, absolutely gorgeous guy. But yes, so the lesson on that one is calm down, I suppose.
No, but you just like grasp life with both hands. Or
It
grasp the
was a bit, to be
limoncello.
honest. But you know the worst of it, and genuinely, this is one of the people who was helping open it up the next day was my ex-boyfriend. God bless him. I wasn't going out with him at the time, I was single, but he was my ex-boyfriend. So he came running up to the house to try and figure out what was wrong with me. And I was trying to convince him I was really ill, had food poisoning of some kind. It was so bad. So bad. Oh gosh. I don't know if I should be sharing this story. Mm, mm, things we do. I know. Yeah. Yeah, but even then I look back and just think it's so funny. So funny.
Well, I mean, the thing is, when I just think that, when we get older and when you kind of approach the end of life, you're not good. It's the memories that you're going to remember, right? It's not about, you know, work necessarily.
Yeah, and even if because actually my studio came to a very sort of sad ending, really. It really did. I had competition up the road, COVID happened, blah, blah, blah. You know, and again, initially I did let that consume me a bit, the kind of grief of the failure of the studio to a degree, things that happened. It that again, you've got to be so careful on this one because whatever crap happens to you, try not to let it stay with you. You've got to get rid of it because you've just got to get a good mindset on what's happened, why it's happened, and how you can go forward. Because when I originally spoke to you about the closing of my studio, it sounded like it was a positive thing. Because that's now what I think it was. But of course, there was more history to it. And it was actually, in a way, it could have been a very negative thing. I could let it still stick with me and be a bit, angry or whatever. But again, it's your mindset. You've got to just let go of anything and think, learn by this and move on. Move on. Life's so short, you know?
But that's a challenge, though, isn't it?
It is. It is.
To
It
be
is a
able
challenge.
to, because a lot of people just get stuck there
Yeah,
rather than actually be able to like, okay. I mean, I really, I believe that we always need to do the grieving and we need to close the chapter. But the sooner we do it, the sooner we can
definitely.
move on. But then, it's about mindset, and
Absolutely.
not everyone can do that. What,
You're,
do you think it's just inherent in you that you've always been
no,
able to do that?
no, no, because I wasn't. I wasn't. I've sort of when I was younger, I came over to England. I from the day I came over, so much stress happened to me. So many icky things happened to me. I was such a young kid, I really was. And 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 so my nature was always then to always expect the worst to happen, if that makes sense. And so I don't think I was. I did bounce back every time and I would kind of laugh it off. But you're absolutely right in what you say. You have to You can't go, because you know some people go, oh, put it to the back, put it to the back. No, 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 you can't. You have to deal with it. What is this? What happened? God, that was awful. Cry and enjoy your cry because you're getting rid of it. You know, that's emotion you're getting rid of, but just don't keep going back to it. Just don't keep looking in that back mirror because it's gone, you know, but recognize that it's gone. That was crap. And yeah, I definitely, you know, that still hurts a bit for sure. But you got to get strong now again. Pick yourself back up and on you go. Yeah. And yeah. But I do feel, I know I keep saying I'm getting older. I feel really old at the minute. That's another thing, isn't it? The way your body goes to crap. Well, mine does. Oh, it does. You should see me. I'm horrible. How can you have cellulite on your tummy? Never even heard of that. I've got cellulite on my tummy. Oh, so depressing. And you know what's really funny is like, because I mean, your body's amazing. I used to look at you in awe when you used to do body balance but I think it's so funny because people go to me, oh, get over it. You're 55. And it's like, it's really hard because we used to have, you know, muscle tone and abs and, you know, you're up there and, you know, and for me to age, I feel it's harder for like one of my besties who was never there. Does that make sense? Never had the kind of tone definition, the person up front, the person doing the videos. You now look at yourself in a video. Well, I do. And I'm like, oh, no, I'm not putting that one out there. That's awful. That's hard, isn't it?
I totally get where you're coming from, you know, because it's something that, you know, like for me, mind you, like over the years, I've been told you know, when I was starting out in the industry, oh, you need to gain weight. Oh, you need to lose weight. There was all this stuff happening. Oh, you need to get a tan when you get on stage, you know, like all of that. But I think because we have, whereas I agree, the people that haven't had that kind of, you know, focus on how
Pressure.
they physically look. I think it's
Yeah,
easier. Yeah.
it is. It is. But what I absolutely love is I don't think we're that way anymore. As in, like, because now there's so much online, there's so many people out there doing things, there's so many bodies, like normal bodies. It is getting better. And again, it's again for me, my mindset. I have to literally get my head around it's it's not going to get any better. You know, yes, I can work out, I can kill myself, but I just need to get my head around this whole aging thing, you know. Yeah. So that one I do have to work on. Hard.
Yeah,
Hard.
I could, and I don't know actually whether saying that, you know, like where I live and stuff, and I just think a lot of people, women, kind of in that mid age range where, you know, like sort of late 40s to mid to late 50s. And round here, they exercise really hard. They run, they cycle, and they do all sorts. And I, you know, when I drive past them and they're running away. And then I think, what are they running from? It really looks like they're running from something as opposed to towards something. And it's a mind, you know,
Yeah.
whatever's going on in their mind, right? And it's like they're almost chasing,
Well,
well, I don't know, they're running away from aging, they're chasing youth almost, you
yeah.
know, I don't know.
Definitely. Excuse me, definitely. And I don't know if you're watching Davina McCall at the moment. She's fantastic. She's on about menopause, like, you know, really, really embracing it, blah, blah. But then you look at her and go, well, look at you. You're just like, you're so fit and she's just incredible, isn't she? So even when I watch her, I'm like, well, she is quite skinny. She is. Meow, meow. She is for sure.
It's really interesting because when I used to lecture at university, I was lecturing, one of the subject matters I lectured on was obesity, but then also disordered eating. And it was something I was looking at in the industry back then, like in the 90s and early 2000s, you know. And I don't think it looks it sort of counters the exercise that she does probably counters the health, the health benefits, etc. I don't. It just how many women as of like our age really could get to look that way realistically.
Totally and utterly. And you know what? Seriously, and I'm not putting it out there, but if I was a bloke, I know I'd fancy a bigger woman as well. I love bodies. I love them, like men and women. And I always think a woman with a bit of weight on her are just so much more attractive. But then again, I need to eat, like, even now listening to myself, I need to like tell myself this as well, you know. But I think it's just seeing the sort of, I suppose, your age disappearing. You now going, you're getting older, and you just have to. You can't embrace it, because I think embrace it is a bit like, you're not going to embrace it. I suppose accept it and be happy about it. You know, I think truly. In fact, hell, I think I should strip off my clothes now and just walk around. Not really. But yeah, I do think this is something I need to work on a bit. Just get my head around the getting older in the body, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Oh, God, when I approached 50, I was like, oh my God, like it's half a century, really, isn't it? And how many more, birthdays am I going to have, kind of thing. Um, but then I guess for me, when I look at that and I think, well, I look at what I've achieved in my life and I look at what else I can achieve. And as long as I'm healthy and I keep my body
Absolutely.
functioning, why am I being so caught up with how it physically actually looks? Like in my 20s, I tell you this, I don't know if I've told anybody this. In my late 20s, early 30s, I wanted to get a boob job, right? Because when you exercise and you've got muscle at the back, and then shirts don't fit very well because you've got no boobs to fill the front, right? and,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
I looked at wanting to get my boobs done, and then I started my yoga teacher. I was in my yoga teacher training, and I thought, actually, if I got some boobs, I wouldn't be able to physically get into some of these positions.
You're absolutely right. And you know why I know? Because I've had a boob job, and I need to have it done again. And he said to me, well, you now have to make a decision. Do you want the boobs, or do you want the stretching? I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So yeah, I'm thinking he's a bit OTT on it though, but yeah, yeah. So did you have the boob job?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I didn't have a boob job. When I was a child, I wanted to have a nose job because I don't have a nose. And but I was like under 10 at the time. And my mum was like, don't be silly. um, so yeah, no, I didn't, because literally there were some yoga poses that I really don't think you would have been able to get into. I was struggling as it was, and
Yeah, yeah.
yoga's really originally designed for, like, the a different body shape, isn't it, coming from India,
So
and
true.
mainly done by men,
Yeah.
so it's very different. So
Mm.
I didn't have it done. I've had friends who've had them done over the years, and some of them have decided to have them completely removed as they got older.
Oh, do you know what though? I have to. It's, if you can imagine, I've had four children. So I used to have really big boobs, four children. Then they were like like the dog spaniel ears. That's what they used to look like. So I honestly, they were disgusting. They really were disgusting. So when I had them done, I just felt really feminine again. I felt really sexy again. I never regret it. And I always, people knock plastic surgery, people knock, people getting stuff done. People are saying it's going to extreme. Do you know what? If that individual needs to get that done and feel good about themselves when they have that done, let them do it. It's their way. I'm never going to judge. Never, never. You know the whole Madonna thing now. People taking pictures of her. Listen, she's insane anyway. Do you know what I mean? She's probably loving the attention. So just let her to it. Let her to it, you know. But yeah. So yeah.
Oh my God, it's snowing. I've just looked out the window. It's
Amazing.
snowing. Oh, lovely.
I'm bringing France to
It's such
you.
a
I'm bringing France to you.
I know you are. I know you are. Um, yeah, so looking back at you know, the your years in the industry, what's the proudest thing you've done for the love of group fitness?
Honestly, and I know this is like fingers down your throat, but you know when people come, you've got the front group, you know, the front group who know your choreography, they're wearing all the kit, they, you know, they're like front of the group. And then you've got the back group with the more shy people, you know. And I just loved because I my classes were really, really big back in the day. And just seeing that line changing and those people over the weeks and months, not on the back anymore, but coming forward and forward, and just feeling like you're genuinely creating a community of people who are just really enjoying what they're doing, arrive with smiles on their faces, leave with smiles on their faces. You just feel fantastic when you know that you're having that kind of positive impact on someone. You know, the very, very shy one in the back of the class, suddenly she's coming up, and you're like, oh, good girl, there you are, you know, and you're doing that for them. You're giving them confidence for themselves. I used to love that. I'd get a real, real buzz from that. Love that. That you have that um opportunity to do that is amazing. You can inspire someone. You're like, me, inspire someone. Wow. Yeah, you can. Every single fitness instructor can inspire someone, can change their lives. Wow. Wow. It's true,
Yeah.
isn't it?
It is. We're changing lives, and this is where sometimes, you know, I think there's that whole conflict, isn't it, um, of pay in the industry and how much they, you know, how can you can't put a price on changing someone's life. You really can't, you
You
know.
can't, you can't. But yeah, I saw this on Facebook, funny enough, this morning. It was but along the way, don't forget to look after yourself. And I think that's so, so important too. Do you know, sometimes we get so excited and there we go again. We're back to the stress. We're back to the, we got to be there. We got to be working. We got to blah, 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 blah. You've also got to make sure you are literally taking some time to look after yourself, because those people are, they're great, but just remember that every time this happens, they are taking a piece of you along the way. So you've got to make sure that you replenish that piece of you. They've literally taken a chunk of you, you know, and this is why they're getting stronger. It's through you. So you've got to make sure that you're just feeding yourself with really nice energy every time you've done a class afterwards. Just look after yourself, you know, that's so important. And I know everybody gets that.
I think also because, you know, you don't always, because if you're teaching group fitness, you're teaching lots of people on a weekly basis, and they're all taking this chunk from you, but not everyone will always come up and thank you or tell you what you've done with your life. Sometimes, you know, you get it out of the blue. They said, oh, I've been coming to your class for years and I just want to, you know, and you're like, you know, you don't necessarily get it. You get the thank you on the way out, but not necessarily the deep, meaningful, you've changed my life stuff. And so that's why
You
it's so
don't.
important
When you
to look after yourself, right? Because all these chunks are taken, but they are coming back, but not immediately.
No, no, exactly. And you're 100% right. And then I used to say to people, funnily enough, being an instructor can actually be an incredibly lonely thing. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but because but people are like, why? You've got like 70 people in a class. It's like, but exactly that. They just, oh, bye, bye, bye. You know, but if you and I hadn't spoken in the past, you would have no idea that you inspired me. You know, but because we've now sat and talked, and I was like, oh my God, Nancy, I can't believe I'm talking to you. You literally inspired me. And you would never have known that because I was just But in a way, I suppose you're almost too embarrassed to go up to the instructor to kind of go, "Oh, you're amazing, thank you." It takes balls to do that, but I think we mustn't forget that we do inspire people, you know, and to focus on that, the positive. Don't focus on the old grumpy face, but the smiling faces as well. You'll always have someone giving you the eyes for some reason. You're like, what? It's like, don't worry. Put that one over to the side. Just look at everyone else smiling. But yes, you're absolutely right. People don't. Yeah.
Do you still teach now, this aside from running Pure Stretch?
Do you know, I've really, really slowed down. I do lots of I'll turn up and do stuff for people. I'll go to running clubs and stuff because I think it's really important just to keep yourself out there, because the more you don't do it, the more you kind of get shy and stuff. I do my workshops, as you know, so I'll present for 1 or 2 days. But the classes, not so much now. Yeah, because of the business, it's going really well, and I can just manage it on an online basis. I almost feel guilty for saying that.
Then on the other hand, I think you've got to be very proud of yourself because you do have a lovely community that you've built with the Pure Stretch team.
Do you know what? The team are they're amazing. And they're just so lovely. Even because what I do is I do some routines, give it to them. They go out and teach it. They mix and match it. They get back. They give me ideas, blah, blah, blah. And then one of my girls who I love, Revive Fitness, Amanda, she's brilliant. She said, Key, why don't we just do also on the platform like that? The guys can throw ideas in. And I went, what a fantastic idea. So now the guys themselves are throwing so it is a proper community. It's like, well, why do we do this? Why do we try and get a chair? Why do we? And it's fab. I sort of sit back and watch them and just love it. Someone asks a question, somebody else answers it. It's fantastic. It's really good.
No, it's a lovely, lovely community you've got. So at the time of this interview right now, what are you working on? What are you focusing on? Could be personal, could be business, whatever.
Well, do you know what? Because of what I was just saying to you, with the fitness and everything like this, and I do love yoga and I do love stretching, but I still have that personality that I do love a good every now and then as well. I need it. I need to get rid of that energy within me. So I'm doing a thing called Purestretch HIIT, which is, I know it's like, oh, HIIT. Oh, it's fantastic. I'm working on that at the Mo, and I'm doing it with my hubby in France. It's so funny. He's dying a death. I drag him. Come on, come do it with me. Oh, but I absolutely love it. So we do a lovely warm up, and then we have 4 HIIT sequences, and then we do a beautiful stretch afterwards. And I'm like, I'm hooked. I can't wait to get it out there. It's lovely. No, it's not lovely. It's horrible, but in a lovely way.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, because there are like yoga HIIT stuff around as well, isn't there?
Yeah. And I need that. I do need to get that kind of, I don't know. I've got too much energy sometimes and I just need to get rid of it. The guys are off now. They'll get rid of all their energy skiing. If I don't do something today, I'll be really bad company. So I'll do a bit of HIIT now and I'll be on great form.
Burn off some stuff. So obviously you've got a business and you're providing training in the industry with your Pure Stretch. Where do you see things going for the industry?
I don't know. I really don't. What do you mean for the general industry?
Yeah, group fitness.
I think it's absolutely fine. I think everyone's fine with it. I think the online, although, initially it's like people are worried about the level of standards. Do you know what? Once we're all out moving and smiling, and I think it's good. What do you think?
I think it's good. And there's a lot of people talking about looking at the downside, the glass half empty side of things. And, with virtual reality and the recession and lots of other stuff, I prefer to look at the glass half full. And I think that people want community,
Good
and,
girl.
people want to feel good. And that is stuff you can't, I don't think you can, I don't think you can replace belly to belly. Online definitely is still there. We wouldn't be
Do you know?
talking otherwise,
Yeah,
but this, it'd be nice to meet in
exactly.
person and have a cuppa. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah, 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 yeah. I feel like I really know you, which is really nice. Do you know, funny enough, I was having that conversation with my hubby, and he said to me, "Nah, Key," he said, "I got to be honest. That for me, there is nothing else other than being there, feeling the atmosphere. You know, you can feel the aura of the instructor, you can get the buzz, you can, you know." But I just think as well that can sometimes intimidate people, and sometimes people feel a bit out of their depth in a community like that. So I sometimes think the online, personally, I don't do much online myself because I do feed off the energy around me. But I do think there's advantages to both, isn't there? You've got the person who's maybe can't get out, or maybe is really shy, or maybe wants to practice before they actually get out there into the big world, so there's advantages to both. But I agree with you. There's nothing like the energy and the instructor and the kind of whoop whoop, that feeling to it is really good. Definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's great being able to do stuff online as well. And like you say, some people just physically can't get out, and if they are shy, etc., they can even not have their camera on, and still participate in
Exactly.
that sense till they build the confidence. I always remember
Exactly.
years ago, and I was living in Luton, and there was someone, I'm still in touch with her actually, and she was on the spectrum. And she said to me when I got to know her that she would park her car and she would sit in her car for 45 minutes to psych herself up to come into the gym.
Oh.
And
And
she did
this is
it.
common.
Yeah, yeah.
This we don't realize that because of the personalities that we are, but there are so many people out there that really really struggle with what we get a hit from, the bodies, the energy, that can make some people really really nervous. And I think we've got to bear that in mind as well. When you are doing group fitness, make sure that you're creating what feels like a safe community, but something that everybody is involved with. Try not to exclude anybody, because those quiet people that have the balls to come to these classes, just give them that little wink or that something that they kind of go, "Oh, great, she sees me." It's like, "Yeah, I see you. I see you." It's so important. Don't focus on those front people all the time. I used to reverse the room, so the front would be the back. Yeah. So suddenly, like, the back of the class is the front of the class, and things like that. It's really important. Yeah.
Yeah, when she said that to me, it really made me realize that, what we take for granted, some people, it's, the fact is she made it, because there'll be a ton of others who will probably sit in the car park and then actually go, "Now I'm going home," and never actually step in through the door, Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah.
Definitely. Definitely.
So
Yeah.
what does the future hold for you?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know, but you know what? And this is the truth. Do you know, when everything was happening many many years ago, I remember driving the car, and I had this amazing feeling of just being so happy and so content. And it's just the most amazing feeling. And then crap happened, blah, 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 for quite a few years, blah, blah, head mindset, blah, 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 blah. And it's come back again. That lovely feeling of just being really happy and really content. So I'm like, I know I'm on good form now. I know I'm in a good place. So I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing and just see what happens. I'm just going to be what I am, keep going forward. I'm in a good place. So hopefully, wonderful things will happen. Fingers crossed.
Always does, isn't it? When you're in that good space and just being in the moment,
Yeah,
things happen, opportunities
definitely.
appear.
Definitely.
Yeah. So what's
Exactly. Exactly.
your key message for someone, in this industry? Someone say starting out in this industry, what would you say to them?
Just, I think, like a summary of this conversation, like, be as positive as you can, have a mindset that you just go with the flow. Don't get stressed. As soon as you feel stressed about something, just figure it all out, and yeah, just be as positive as you can and love what you teach. Love what you teach. As soon as, remember, if you're dragging your heels out that door, give it up and replace it with something that you will actually look forward to teaching.
Now, if you could sum up group fitness in one word, what would that be?
Fun,
Ah,
energy, community.
and like to me, that's you. Those, exactly, exactly. Those
Thank
three
you.
words. Yeah, no. I was so gutted that I wasn't here when you came into our studio. I was like, oh, I could have met you
Um,
in the
I know,
flesh.
I know. Oh, your hobby was lovely. He was so good. He took care of everything. Absolute gem. Really lovely.
Oh,
Just made sure everything was all
cool.
right. It was lovely.
Yeah, yeah. So one day we will meet in the flesh. Yeah.
I hope so. That would be amazing. Yeah,
It would be really lovely. So, like next time you're back, you're like in the UK, if you're wherever you are, if you're somewhere in the Southwest, it'd be lovely to
definitely.
meet up and
Definitely.
have a cuppa.
Love chatting with you. It's great. I love it. It's brilliant. Thank you for having me again.
No, thank you so much. So, for our listeners, where can they find you? What's the best places to find you?
Well, just go on the website purestretch.co.uk, and yeah, have a look out for the Pure Stretch hit. It's See, I'd love feedback as well. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to launching that. It's really, really good fun. So yeah, if you guys ever want to teach stretch with a bit of hit in there, that will be launched, I reckon, in a couple of months' time. So yeah, very exciting. And listen, always message me as well if anyone's got feedback or questions. Get on the website. We have a contact page there. So please do get in touch. It would be lovely.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time. And
Thank you again. It was
have a wonderful rest of the year. And I'm sure I'll see you at some point, if not online, in the flesh.
all right, Ansi. Thank you so much.
Thank you.